Welcome. Thank you for joining us today. I want to welcome Dr. Howard Cohen, our beloved teacher in the Gesher program at the Dallas Jewish Community Center. We are at the end of his lecture series, Abraham to Jesus, which is being offered to the public for the first time on DVD. Many people of different faiths in the Dallas-Fort Worth area have heard Dr. Cohen speak about this subject and many others. They are well aware of the scope of his knowledge. For those of you who are not quite as familiar with him, we want to give you the opportunity to hear directly from him about his background and how he came to acquire it. Dr. Cohen, dentistry is your profession, but history is your passion. Tell us how you came to it and why.
Well, as you say, history has always been my passion. I've always been a student of history, and even through my professional training, I never stopped studying history. What's brought me to my present course of study, there was a time in the early 70s where I took a trip to Israel, and a group of friends went with me, and we came back. And I think I missed the meeting, but at some point, they made me the teacher. And I spent many hours studying and reading and bringing it back to them. Once a week, we'd meet on a Wednesday night for a couple of years. And I amassed this, not only boxes of notes, but also this knowledge that fed into the interest I had always had. And when people called the Jewish community and said, we'd like you to come and we'd like you to send someone to come speak to us, my friend said, send Howard. And that's how I got to where I am now. I started to get real serious about this in the 70s, in the 80s, and then finally in the 90s, I decided to get a degree in a Master of Liberal Arts from SMU, Southern Methodist University, with an emphasis in religious history.
That leads right into my second question. How long have you been a student of biblical history?
Well, as I said, from high school days, always enjoyed reading about the history that surrounds the writing of the Bible and the Bible itself. It meant studying early Christianity. It meant studying my own faith, my own tradition, Judaism. So it's been going on for as long as I can remember.
How and why did you start to speak in churches?
It was sometime in the middle 70s when people in the community, Christians in the community, would call the Jewish community, the local federation, and ask for someone to come and speak to them about some topic. And my name would come up, I would go, and then that built almost like a dental practice. One spoke to another, and before I knew it, every Sunday morning I was in church somewhere, teaching somebody about Judaism, about Christianity, how we relate, how we differ, modern, ancient. That's how it got started.
That's interesting. So what are some of the topics you touched on?
Well, it depends on the churches that I go speak at on Sunday morning. Some of them I've been to many times before, and the topics they may pick, it may be a formal course of study, but most often it's whatever you want to know about Jews, but we're afraid to ask. And the questions can be lightweight questions about holidays. What do Jews believe about this? What do they believe about that? Why don't Jews think Jesus is God? What do we think about an afterlife? What do we think about resurrection? It just, whatever comes up.
Do you represent any particular denomination of Judaism when you address church groups?
I don't think of myself as a member of any particular denomination of Judaism, and in fact, I make it clear that there really aren't denominations of Judaism as the non-Jewish world has come to understand denomination. There are various streams of Judaism, and in my presentations I try to present both a traditional view and a liberal view and everything in between.
The Gesher program at the Dallas Jewish Community Center has been one of your prime speaking venues when it comes to addressing Jewish groups. During these classes, what perspective do you speak from?
I try to present the historical perspective, again mentioning both the traditional view and a liberal view, but always trying to get back to what the history tells us without trying to get into the faith position, which really that place belongs in synagogue and church, and in the classroom, perhaps there's another point of view, which is the historical view.
Okay. Have you encountered any resistance from your audiences, Jewish and Christian, to the ideas and viewpoints that you present? What forms does this resistance take?
Well, of course, I've encountered opposition and resistance. I wouldn't be doing my job if I didn't run into that. As soon as any student of history or teacher of history begins to present some topic, it's going to pass through a veil of understanding, even if it is no more than what topics in that time you're picking to speak about. Even that is somewhat prejudicial, or at least weighted to that person's point of view. So I do run into resistance. From traditional groups, I run into resistance when I present a liberal point of view. And from liberal participants, I would run into opposition when I present the traditional point of view. So I get a little bit from both sides, and that's how I know I'm doing it right.
That's true. You are an active participant in chat groups and bulletin boards online. Tell us about a couple of subjects that come up most often.
Well, there too, it runs the gamut. It's whatever they want to know about Jews. Things come up, especially when I'm on Christian websites. After all, we share this Jewish Testament. They call it the Old Testament, our Jewish Testament. We share this part of the Testament, and it is viewed very differently by these two groups. Winston Churchill once said that the British and the Americans are separated by a common language. And so are we as Jews and Christians. We read the same verses with a completely different mindset and approach. So very often when I'm on a Christian website and something comes up about Jewish Testament and some view is presented, I'll chime in with the Jewish view, not trying to change their minds about their own view, but give them the understanding that there is another way to read that as Jews read it as opposed to the way Christians read it.
This project is the first time that your words have been recorded. Now there will be something tangible people can own and listen to anytime they choose. What are your feelings about this?
Well, of course, the more people I reach, I certainly reach many in the churches and in my classroom and the Jewish community, but being able to distribute something like that through a wider population, I hope for them to gain an understanding of themselves and of each other. And if I can get that out there to more people, then that would be wonderful.
Then I think we would have fulfilled the goal that we set out to when we took on this project. Thank you, Dr. Cohen.
Thank you.
We appreciate it very much.
Thank you.
Thank you for joining us. You can learn more about this project by going to historybyhoward.com for more information, and you can also purchase the DVD. Thanks again.